Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new video. So previously I made a video telling you guys and gals some folding knives that I would never get rid of. And now I want to show you some fixed blade knives that I will never get rid of. These are knives that most have sentimental value as opposed to like practical value. Not that they're not practical, but they have sentimental value. So we're going to start with the biggest first, and the one that actually I have owned longer than I've owned any of the rest of these. So the first one is a Marine Corps issued. Most people think they're K-bars. This is not a K-bar. This is actually made by Camillus, and it was made in Camillus, New York. This knife was Marine Corps issued. I was in the Marine Corps. I went in January 2001, got out in January 2005, and a friend of mine had been loaned to the armory. We were ammo techs in the Marine Corps, and he was currently working at the armory where they keep all the M16s, all the machine guns, all that stuff. And they had a whole bunch of these that I guess the Marine Corps was purging them and getting K-bars. I don't know the exact details. He had just asked me. He had gotten a hold of a bunch of them and he was giving them away to us. And I ended up with two of them. One of them I had allowed my brother to carry. He got pulled over in a vehicle. The cops took it. It was a headache trying to get it back. I never got that one back. But this is the one that I was able to keep. And like I said, this is made in Camillus, New York. I've tried to trace these. I think these are like World War II era. I can't for sure figure out. I've tried to look on the internet. Something about at one point they were made in the U.S. at Camillus up until World War II, or I can't remember the details. Kind of fuzzy. I'm sure there's somebody watching this that probably knows better details about it than me. But I mean, as you can see, there's a whole lot of play on this where it's been sharpened over the years. And yeah, so this one's sentimental value. Now it pretty much just stays in a box or in a drawer. I don't really carry it anywhere or anything like that. It's a bit dirty. I've used it a couple times to process deer and everything else. But yeah, so this is the first one. This is the one I've had the longest. Now the next couple also have to do with a Marine Corps friend, but is actually he started his own knife making company. So he's not really making knives anymore. He does more camping videos and things like that. I'll link to his channel down below. If you go on the main page of my channel, you'll actually see him listed there. It's Project Knife Hand. He does a lot of like camping adventures. He will go out and spend like 3 or 4 days camping. So he had created these knives for things that he could use while he was camping. So this is the very first, I shouldn't say the very first knife, I should say the first batch of knives. And he got much better. He made 3 knives. I bought 2 of them from him. He kept one. I give my dad one and I have one. And this he called the Battle Ridge EDC. Now you look, the handle, again, this was his very first time trying to make these knives, and I'll show you another one later. He will say things about the handle because I mean it's different, right? It's not refined like what you would see on some other knives. But for sentimental value, I'll never get rid of this knife. This is something that I will keep forever. Again, I can't claim that it's the very first one because I don't know that's the case, but it's the very first batch of knives he made. He made the Kydex sheath and made the handle, and like I said, I bought 2 of them from him. One of them I kept, and one of them I gave to my dad. And this would just, again, this stays up with my collectibles. I don't carry this one. I worry about losing it. This is not something that this is a keepsake. This is a collectible. Now, similar to that, he's gotten better over the years, making better knives. He had a bunch of scrap steel left over. If I can get this out, the retention on this thing is crazy. He had a bunch of scrap steel left over, and he made these little mini cleavers. You can see his knife mark. Knife Hand Customs was actually the name of the knife company. His YouTube channel name is Project Knife Hand. These things are just the coolest little thing. Again, I think it was kind of just a joke. I can't remember. It was one of those where he had a bunch of scraps and we were talking about it, and I'm not going to try to take credit for anything that he's done. But I can't remember if it was a conversation that we were joking about making little mini cleavers, or if he'd already decided to do it and showed me. I can't remember exactly how that worked out. If he watches the video, I'm sure he can chime down below. But he made a handful of these. I don't remember exactly how many that he made, but I absolutely had to have one of the little cleavers. This is just the coolest little thing. I've used it a couple times just to cut some stuff, but like that one, it's more of a keepsake for me, not anything that I'd really want to, lose, or I can't, you're not going to damage this. I mean, this is some thick stuff. But you guys get what I'm saying. Sentimental value, not willing to take a chance on losing it or breaking it or anything like that. Now, the last one of the knives I have from him is this one. This is when he started getting really good at making knives. Now, this one I have processed the deer with this one. So again, it's called the Battle Ridge EDC. The Battle Ridge is because the mountain where my hunting club is located is called Battle Ridge. And he'd come up, we had done some camping or something, and he decided to name it that. The reason why this one is very peculiar or sentimental to me is I've been hunting since I was about 7 years old. My very first deer, just like many people's first deer, was a spike. This, if you can see this handle is made out of the antlers of the very first buck I ever killed. He used the antlers, and I believe, I don't know what else he used on this. He tried to make the collars blue and gold because being where I'm at in Appalachia, our favorite team is blue and gold. And he tried to get that to match. But this thing, I love this knife. I haven't cleaned it in a while, as you can see. I think last year, maybe it was last year, I used it to skin out a doe that I had killed. Because that was the whole point of this knife, was to use it to skin out deer with. I need to clean it up a little bit, and now that bow season's open here, I'd really like to. What would be really, really nice is I have an opportunity this year to kill what may be my biggest buck ever, and it would be really cool if I could use this to skin that deer out with. But yeah, so those are three that came from one person, my friend, that, again, I'll never part with these. These will be handed down to my kids. My girls like knives. They will go to them someday. Now, the other two are more commercialized. Let me move these over aside. The first one I'm going to show you is this Essie. It's the SE3. Now, the funny story about this is, for a long time, I didn't have money to buy expensive knives. And I'm not saying the SE3 is an expensive knife, but for a long time, I really didn't have the extra income to just be buying, anything over than like a $30 or $40 knife. Most of the time I was buying stuff, it was like the Outdoor Edge knives with the replaceable blades, which they're fantastic knives. They work great. It just, they're cheap. And for the longest time, I kept eyeballing the SE, not specifically the 3, but the Venom Green with the orange handles. So on and on and on and on, I kept waiting and kept waiting. And finally, when I got into a position where I can order something a little more expensive, this was the first fixed blade knife that I ordered. Again, it's a genuine SE3. It's got that Venom Green, was it powder coat? I'm not sure if it's powder coat. I know it's not anodized. It's like a Venom Green powder coat with that orange handle. And I know it's ridiculous looking, the collar is, but I absolutely love this knife. One day I had run in the store and I came outside and my wife had this out shaving a little bit of hair on her leg. My wife doesn't have hairy legs, but I guess it's a spot she'd missed with a razor or something. And I come outside and she had her leg propped up on my truck dash, cutting a hair off her leg with my SE3. And I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I'll never get rid of this knife. I really wanted I guess it's the Jungless or Hungless, however you want to pronounce it. But it's just, I mean, it's a gigantic knife. It's just too big. This thing works perfect for, you can put it on your belt, carry it around. Up until the next knife I'm going to show you, this is what I was carrying during deer season. So usually what I'll have is like a pocket knife in my pocket and a fixed blade on my belt. And then in my truck, I usually keep like a bag with a lot of the knives with detachable blades or replaceable blades. That is what I usually do when I'm hunting. And I was carrying this one up until this year, and it's only because something else replaced it. But again, this is one of those that I'll never get rid of. And last but not least is the Bonds Creek Knife Badger. So this was given to me by the guys or guy at Bonds Creek Knives. We followed each other on Facebook for quite some time. I've got an outdoors channel separate from this knife channel, and he follows my outdoor channel, and he sent me this to do a review. If you go back there, on the channel, you'll see I've made a couple of videos about this now, and I just really, really like this knife. I thought it was going to be too small for my hands because I have some really big hands, but if you look, it's not. A couple weekends ago, a buddy had killed a doe, and I was able to help him field dress that deer with this, and it worked flawlessly. Never had any problems. It was small enough that I could get up inside the deer's cavity to, do all the stuff you have to do there. And what I really, really like about this knife is I'm not real big on carrying knives on my belt. Now, I know that sounds contradictory to what I just told you a minute ago. When I'm hunting, yes, I'll carry something like this on my belt. But on my day-to-day, I don't like having stuff on my belt. I'm not a small guy. It makes it uncomfortable if I try to sit down in my truck with a blade or a pistol shoved in my, in my side. Normally, if I'm out hunting and I have if I'm bow hunting, I've got a pistol rig that mounts to my chest. So if I go to sit in my blind, I don't have a pistol digging into my side. So for my day-to-day, I don't really like carrying stuff on my belt like that. This one is fantastic because it's got an ulti-clip. I can stick it down in my pocket. So I can have this in my pocket along with, one of my folding knives down in my pocket. It doesn't get in the way. It doesn't get lost. The ulti-clip on this is so daggone tight. See if I can show you guys. So that thing is so tight, you clap that down on your belt, you're not losing it. I mean, the retention's pretty good, so you're not going to lose this. So this is the last one that I'm not ever going to get rid of. Now, do I have some other knives that I probably won't get rid of? Absolutely. But they're not ones that I would say I will never get rid of. These that I've showed you today, these are knives that I'll never get rid of. And that's it, you guys. Down in the comments, let me know. Do you have a fixed blade knife in your collection, either that you like so much that you won't get rid of, or it is something that you have a lot of sentimental value? Let me know down in the comments. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. It really, really does help the channel. It's free to you. YouTube also now has something called a hype feature. If you look down below, if you're on mobile, it doesn't work on desktop as far as I know, but if you're on mobile, swipe to the right where the comments are at, and there's a little button there you can hit called the hype button. If you click that hype button, it's supposed to help me out in the algorithm. Doesn't cost you anything to do that, but it goes a long way to helping the channel. We're trying to reach 3,000 subs by the end of the year, and we're getting pretty close. I think we're at like almost at 2,700 right now. So any like, share, comment to get that going would really, really help. That's it, you guys. I hope I give you some kind of entertainment today, and I will hope to see you in the next video.